Hey, Danielle Fitzpatrick-Clark here, host of The Mighty podcast. And this isn't just your ordinary podcast. This is where we get real with Olympians, pro athletes, celebrities, and other amazing high achievers who've all conquered their fears and challenges and come out successful on the other side. So every week, you're going to get unforgettable conversations. You're going to get information on how to move things forward and powerful, powerful validation for you building your own dreams. So hit that subscribe button, spread the love, and let's go. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for being here for another episode of The Mighty podcast. And I'm really excited for today's guest because I have seen her flourish over the years. And I have to just, a little personal thing here. When I met Precious, I was actually thinking about getting out of the industry because I just had enough. It was like, I was in my dark moment, my dark night of the soul when I met her. And it's one of those moments where you're just like, oh, okay, I'm just going to get through this last training because I was doing an online training. And then I'm really going to start looking at my life seriously again. And it was really Precious and just her thirst for knowledge and just movement and action and just taking what I was teaching and running with it. Just like, oh, I am pretty good at this. Okay, we're going to keep going because this is the people I get to work with. And yes, please. But she's amazing, guys. And she is a 13-time National Elevator Pitch Champion. She is well established in the pitching community. She, besides helping women entrepreneurs and business leaders, she is the top corporate sales trainer, helping sales teams to create killer communication skills, craft messaging, and understand how to pitch and build sales programs. She's a world-class speaker and trainer for global brands, including BMW, Google, LinkedIn, Microsoft, SiriusXM, HubSpot, Harvard, Columbia, Spelman, Morehouse College, George University, Intuit, QuickBooks, Yelp, and there's so many more, guys. I can only speak so long. She's also an international professional speaker, and she's hired as a keynote for global company summits and events worldwide. So amazing at what she does. And she was on a reality show as a pitch master, as a pitching coach. So she is pretty amazing, guys. So I'm so excited for you guys to get to know more about her. We're just going to jump right in. One of the other things I love about you is that you have this gratitude practice. And I think that's like, for me, I'm like, yeah, that's definitely part of the magic of Precious is that she's so grateful for all these opportunities. And it just, and I think that makes a big difference. And you, of course, you want to succeed, but where you always appreciate, hey, this is where I'm at. And I'm really grateful for where I'm at because I know where I've been and I know that I'm moving forward. And I think that's so hard for people to get. I mean, I have a hard time even some days getting that piece of it of like, look where I am today. It's so great that you just have, it's like a natural piece of you.
But I also think it was part of the, just part of the entrepreneurial journey, part of the growing up journey, part of doing the work that people talk about but rarely do. So it's like people could send out a quote and it's good for that moment. It's good for them, but there's so much more involved in gratitude, so much more involved in paying it backwards and forwards. It's so much gratitude in realizing that as dark as it could get, it can't be as dark as my childhood. It can't be as dark as losing the love of my life. It can't be as dark as being in homelessness.
Yeah.
And to look back and say, I don't have shame about that. I don't care who asked me about it. I don't have shame. I just can't let my story stay there because that's not my story anymore. It has not been for years. And in those most vulnerable moments, when you're in certain rooms, those masks come off because people are grateful, but they're still scared of losing it all. And I sit there like, man, I didn't hit rock bottom how many times? So I'm always going to bounce back harder. Yeah. So like Ariana Grande, thank you. Next, which is next opportunity. So your no is going to turn into a yes. You don't know when, and I don't. No grass grows under my feet. Yeah. So I'm going to stay persistent and consistent doing what I do. And when it's time for you to see me again, you're going to notice the difference. Like I can even see with us talking today. I remember we were BMW. Like I look back at that entire experience.
Yeah.
And it's one of those shining examples of everything wasn't perfect as far as how the presentation looked on the screen. Everything wasn't perfect. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
But when I spoke, I knew that I was as perfect as I'm ever going to be. I was honored to be there, but I also wanted that audience to appreciate that they don't just pick anyone to be here. And if you remember, Queen, remember mine was standing room only. Like people did not want to go to anybody else's. They wanted to
I
be in
know.
mine. And I will always remember because people still like I was in South Carolina. I spoke at the Myrtle Beach area chambers, Myrtle Beach area Chamber of Commerce Ignite conference. And so Elizabeth, the young lady who was abducted when she was 14, she was morning and I was afternoon keynote. And, I'm meeting people and I'm having fun with people who I've only seen online, and we got to eat and break bread and got to meet with banks, all kinds of things. And I'm sitting here like, the only reason I'm here is because a couple of wonderful people from Myrtle Beach were at BMW. And they wanted to make sure that I was going to be at their 2024 Ignite Women's Conference. At that conference, I got to speak to local media and it aired that night and then the next day.
Yep.
And I'm sitting here. Who lit my flame? Who lit it? And how do you keep it going? And sometimes people call you in a year or two or three. Mm-hmm. So that thank you next. I'll see you again. Trust.
See? So good. Yeah, I'll never forget that event. That was I still brag about you all the time. Like you guys don't get it. Like we had like SNL keynote guys, and she's the one that had the line out the door. I'm just saying. And you had all the
four and a half. Can we talk about 4.5 hours? They were to get the book. The book was already purchased by BMW, and it was
to meet you.
Right, and I always think about like my friends were there. You remember?
Yeah.
And I had to go into that middle and be like, we're gonna just chill because we can't do a presentation. And I will remember they were like, man.
They were tired.
Like Dave and John, they said, Precious, this is what it's like for you. I said, often, yes.
Yeah.
I said, my name doesn't have to be the biggest, but what you can do on stage is amazing. And also not dialing it in. Not dialing it in. And I will never forget. I mean, listen, I remember changing my table because I knew I had to be either in the front or I had to be at ends. I can't be in the middle because I knew that was dangerous, right? Didn't know how dangerous that would have been, but for your own friends, see what you do. And they're like, so we're going to sit over here. They wait 2.5, 3, 4, 4.5 hours. And they're like, the other author, most of the other authors had to leave because no one was in their life. And this is not disrespect to them. It was this impact of, I wasn't the keynote at BMW. Yeah. I was one of the featured speakers and we all had to pitch to get people in our rooms.
Yeah.
And most people want to be in my room, but there's not enough room for everybody to be in my room. Yeah. So luckily we had 2 different things, but that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And here I am. There are people there that were there BMW. So I got to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner with them and let them think of ways to bring me in now. Sometimes presidents leave. Sometimes the people who would have made the decision are gone, and yet your name still stays out there. So when I tell you appreciative, and maybe it's because I lived long enough to know that if you say persistent and consistent, you will always be resistance.
Yeah.
So girl, you know what it is. Of course I'm grateful. And I'm humbled by certain things. Humbled, but I'm also, like you said, I'm magical.
You're
and
magic.
I own my magic. When's the last time you saw me with the same hairstyles, 6 months, 3 months? You won't never see it. Because I like to switch up, but the talent didn't switch up. It just got better.
Yeah. I'll never forget the big German VPs. I'm like, yes, Queen. Oh my gosh. That was the funniest thing.
Queen too.
That was the funniest thing to hear a very, very big man, German man, in his accent say that. Oh, and you know what? I will say he owned it. He did a good job. He owned it. That was like a whole thing. That was like a whole thing. I loved it. Oh my God.
And it was just like they were ready.
Yeah.
They were ready. And BMW was first class and everything. Like,
they did a good job.
I will never forget, we got to go on the obstacle course, and Precious doesn't drive. And so I sat with the instructor and just listening to him and chopping it up. And
Yeah.
like, yes, because I can't drive doesn't mean I can't enjoy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to sit with the instructor. And I think that's the thing about speaking and really trying to build relationships, no matter how short or how long of a time you have. Yes, I'm honored to be there, but I also want them to know that I value their time too.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah. There's so many good memories on that one. And I remember one of the ladies that it was near the end, and she'd been waiting in line she cried after she got to take her picture with you. You remember that older lady?
Yes.
And oh my gosh, that was so sweet. And she just, and I think it was her daughter or something, just said like, it means a lot that she got to meet you. Like, it was just so sweet. And she just like leaned into you when you hugged. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so sweet. So sweet.
I'm trying to tell you, there are moments, a lot of times, like, I'm not usually a vendor. Usually the books are purchased in advance for bigger events, but it's not lost on me when I'm at, different events and people will pay for a book with my signature in it.
Yeah.
And my first book came out when I was 40. My last book came out at 44.
Yeah.
And I take great pride that people still want the old and the new. What?
Yeah.
And finding a way, I think that's why, when I think back to our conversations from yesteryear, there were so many things I didn't say because it wasn't time.
Yeah.
It's like you can start a company, and as badly as you want to be on step 27, you might be on step 3. So 27 is really too far for you to see, but step 4 may be too hard for you to see, but you grow through it. Like, you go from starting something to becoming a CEO, and you instantly recognize the difference. You really recognize it, because delegating and meeting people and setting expectations and having a schedule and KPIs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You think I cared about that when I started? Baby, I was like, we got money in the bank. We selling Gucci. Now, and owning that this is scary, and owning that you were saying something about change maker.
Mm-hmm.
When I was growing up, I really thought there was something wrong with me, because there were just things that people did that I just didn't want to do. And I don't mean like entitlement or anything, like, just, I don't want to follow the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you tell the crowd you don't want to follow them because the thing is to fit in? But you don't fit in. But you can't figure out why you don't fit in, and why can't you just do what everybody wants you to do? Never knowing that was the plan all along.
Right. I
didn't know that I'd be a game changer and a change maker. I didn't know. But when I look back, I can see as Steve Jobs always says, connecting the dots backwards. I can see it now. I see where things had to go for me to step into who I am and unlock that for others. Like, what? So I had to go through some bad times so people can know it can be done. And for certain people, that spurs them forward. And for others, it makes them take a look at their life and like, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing? Like, who the heck cares about plus size women? Who the heck cares about what they wear, their clothes? And they ain't nobody special. And I'm like, man, I'm defying the odds. And even I can't accept it. Even though I started Curvy Girls Lingerie, even though Perfect Pictures by Precious, and now with the Perfect Picture Group, I think about, they said I couldn't, no one would listen to me when it comes to pitching. They said that after I won 13 national championships. They said that no one would buy my books. No one would do these sort of things. And yet you press on. Mm-hmm. Or at least I pressed on it. And I can see why that makes me change maker and a game changer. Because I'm not going to let you tell me who I am. And I also realize I live in a different time than my mother and my grandparents. But in this day and age, I just really pray that women don't have to feel like they have to look, sound, and act like Hollywood or this idealized version to make it. And there are women who are of a certain age, like me at 44. Don't begrudge young women. They're going to make all the mistakes we made, trust and believe. They're going to think that everything's about their body and their looks. But we all grow older, blessed. And in that getting older, you look back at the things you didn't even understand, the mind, mentality and the mindset. And you also understand that no matter what someone has on or how wealthy that they are, you can't take it with you. Who's going to go to bat for you when times get dark and you have no money, you have no access to food, no whatever? Who's going to have you back? It's the people that you made feel good in your presence. It's the people that you were vulnerable with. It's the people that believed in you when everybody said no freaking way it's going to work. And so
I think a lot of us are, especially women, are taught to fit in when we're younger, right? I
girl,
mean,
yeah.
you're speaking my love language here.
Come on,
Because,
you know what it is. You know what it is.
oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how I was the bad girl. I never listened, contrary. I always wanted to do things the way that nobody else is doing it. And top of that, my dad was my principal, my high school principal. Oh my gosh, it was awful. And so, and I love that you said this too, where it's like, it's when you're younger, you don't understand, why can't I be like everybody else, or why don't I fit in? Why am I so, well, at least for me, I was always like, I just don't understand why I have to be this way in order to be accepted and appreciated. When what I really appreciated, I actually really loved when people were different and doing new things and were interesting, and I hadn't seen it before, I hadn't heard it before, haven't experienced somebody with that energy or that personality before. I'm like, I want that. That's more of what I want. But it was just in a small town in northern Maine where survival was the thing and going with the crowd was the way to survive. It was not acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
Acceptable. Or I remember my dad saying, "You're not being very ladylike." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not a lady." Well, but I think there's so many women out there, and it's that are like that have been told no, or you can't do this, or who do you think you are? And
and it kind of eats
it's,
into your brain too.
yeah,
Like, who I think I am.
right?
And I often think of my grandmother because she's the one.
Yeah.
She ain't play about Queen Bee. She ain't play about her golden child, Precious. Latanya Williams didn't play about her. You couldn't say nothing against me. My grandmother would be like,
Yeah.
and just, oh my God, every time I think about her, I think about that's a woman who will fight you to the death over me.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a bad kid. She saw something that older spirit saw. She's gonna get there. She's gonna get there, and I'm gonna do everything in my power in the land of the living to make sure. And so, we think the kind words or smile don't do things. I came out of my new place today, and I've been sitting and seeing this man who stands in front of Dunkin' Donuts. It's cold outside, Queen. You know I'm in that New York lifestyle.
Oh yeah, it's cold.
And somebody told me to go over and ask if he wanted something to eat, right? Because I was going to load him up. Like, yo, I'm going to the office, and I asked him and I looked him in the eye, and he said he didn't need anything. I got on the train because it was eating at me.
Hmm.
I got on a train and there was a person who was unhoused and was, being on the train because that's as warm as it's going to get. And I thought about, man, I remember those days.
Hmm.
I would say no to help. And yes, I was mentally unstable, or I would ride those subways and getting on and looking at where I was. That is a mind freak because you know that if people were homeless, if they really were for an extended period of time, it's not the smell of like all of a sudden that you wouldn't be, you wouldn't want people to make you feel like you're such an inconvenience.
Yeah.
You would want people to have compassion. You want, because no one's asking for money. Like homeless people really aren't always asking for money. Like sometimes they're just like, I can't want to lay here and go to sleep. And that informs a lot of what I do. Cause it's like, you think about those children who will never hear a good word with their name, always being yelled at or made to feel insignificant or not wanted. They grow up. Who do they turn into? If they're blessed to meet like a grandma like mine or someone who loves them, you can be loved to life.
Hmm.
I felt very awkward for years. Like I had social anxiety. Like I can get on stage, but I had social. No, there was a change in me. And I wanted to be around people who really cared and not, hey, I'd love to be on anything that you do, da 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 da. And it's like the opportunity versus the woman standing in front of you.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not telling people not to ask big. Please do.
Yeah.
But please make it a win-win for
Right.
both. And when I say win-win, like what could you do that could be beneficial? And then the higher up you go, it's like people just want to be a part of your journey because they love seeing you do it and being a part of that. And it's not so, oh, what you gonna do for me? It's like, shh, what you need? We on that. But building up to that,
Yeah.
think about that win-win. But anyway, in the midst of all of that, I watched something yesterday, and this little boy, he was in China, and they were asking this little boy, he's 4 years old, and he admitted to his parents he doesn't think his mom loves him. He's basically a nuisance, and his father always yells at him. And he said, "I would love if he said my name nice." And I was like, this little boy is saying what I wish I could have said back then if anybody cared to listen. So when I speak, I always try to ask for volunteers because I think people need to hear
Yeah.
their own voice in front of others and be cheered on
Yeah.
and know that what I do, what we all do, we can be such a great tool, great resource in this world. At the Ignite Women's Conference, it was, I invited a couple of women up on stage to light a fire for themselves and in the world, and throw a pitch at us. And one woman
Yeah.
said, the photographer, she said, "Precious, until I learned you lost the love of your life," she said, "I just recently lost." And she said, I was ashamed to talk about it, but I'm launching something. And she went. And I'm sitting here like, there was nothing but love for her. And I'm listening because, we listen intently as speakers, as content creators. We have to listen intently because that's a gift to be able to understand what's happening on this stage and then looking out at the audience and telling people, clap for the heavyweight champ. That's a heavyweight
Yeah.
champ.
Mm-hmm.
Hugging and embracing with the full breast and chest and going all in. And then the other young lady who spoke, she's new to her company and she wanted to pitch what she brings differently. And
Yeah.
being of help, one was really young and the other woman, she was, a woman of a certain age. And just listening to them too, and then watching how the audience felt. And it was like that you go to light a candle, you go to light, it
Boom.
lit up the whole world. And you gotta ignite. But why do we speak?
Right.
Why do we create content? Why do we coach? Why do we consult? Why do we train? Why do we do these sort of things? I'm hoping for transformation. I'm hoping that your old thought patterns start to shift. It's not an overnight thing, but I expect over time, just like how you did me. There were moments that I had to there's certain things I can't understand until I was ready for my brain to process.
Mhm.
But then you start to see this like, it might be a year later, but it still happened.
Yeah.
And coming out of darkness multiple times, you just want to survive. Well, then survival goes to thriving. And there can be a disconnect there. Do you deserve? When you get to a point where do you deserve? What are you not going to tolerate anymore? If you're an option, let me exit stage left. Go find a better option.
Yeah. It's so interesting. There's a couple things that are coming to mind, and
Mm-hmm.
we're going to play around with all this. I guess we're
Play
going to
around.
play. We're just going to do our thing. I'm glad I hit record. But you say so many things, and I think that there's a natural talent of yours too, because there's people put a lot of shame on being in the dark, in the darkness, like down in the dumps, rock bottom, anything that you want to say, or having those experiences when you're living proof that it's an experience to have and grow from. And before I hit record, you kept telling me like, I already know how bad it can be. I've been there. And I know that today is better than what I've experienced in the past. And it's a transformation for you. And it takes a lot of, I just want to point this out. It takes a lot of courage to go through the tough things and to come through the tough things and not let it be the stopper of your success. And you just prove that. And it also is it's also a blessing because now you have this incredible ability. Like I was telling Precious, I'm like, sometimes it's okay just to say that you're just magic and you are magic. And all the things that you have gone through just make you very magical. And there's only one Precious. And it really is. You've got all these experiences that have made you so magical, but you can actually understand where people are in their darkness and you can go there, even if it's just for a moment when you're on stage and you feel it and you speak to it. You can go there and you can help them navigate out of the dark and into the light. And you can step back into the light, into a high vibrational being and keep speaking and keep igniting people. It's just really amazing.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I don't think I've ever heard it explained to me just the way you just did. The reason why I'm not a lecturer, the professor type, is because I don't learn that way. I can't talk to and expect it to immediately do something. That has never been my thing. And I think growing up, there was only a certain way to teach. There was only a certain way to do things, right? And we've now learned that people have different learning styles, right? Whether that's kinesthetic, whether that's visual, whether that's auditory, all those things, right? And that's a blessing, but it came over time.
Yeah.
And when I spoke before the darkness of 2016, late 2016, I didn't think I really had a gift as a speaker. Yes, I spoke, but something in the transformation from late 2016 to late 2018, that 2-year journey, there was so much that happened as a student at the Bowery Mission Women's Center. There was a lot of pressure. We know, like, they had respect for me. The staff and the students had respect for me. But no one really thought I could start a company over again, right? Because I'd fallen so far. And all I kept hearing is your second chapter is going to be better than your first. Well, how do you trust in that? Well, we didn't have access to phones, computers, like TV, like everything was monitored. And as much as that wants to chafe against my natural thing of, I'm just going to do me, I needed structure. Because with that structure for almost 2 years, knowing what I was going to be doing from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., y'all know I got up at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Because I got to talk to my G mother, a staff member. I would take a shower and I would get myself fully dressed, put on a little makeup, a wig. And, I could tell things were changing because how I was presenting myself was changing. So in the midst of all of that, I became a better speaker because I wanted to listen to people. There's a lot to be said. I can know a lot about pitching, and someone could say something that is such a game changer for me that I'll do something different. Like people are telling me, hey, you don't need to be on TikTok or Clubhouse or whatever. So I really wasn't on Clubhouse, but they were like, but the way you speak is still so commanding. Think about TikTok. I said, I think about it. In the end, what makes me a better speaker is I'm interactive.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter if I'm keynoting. It wouldn't, I need audience participation because we can all sit and talk be looking at our phone like, man, I gotta meet the grocery bill, da, da, da. No, I want you to feel what's being said because it's not for the head. It's for the heart. It's for the spirit. It's going to hit the head. Some nuggets going to hit here, but it's some stuff that I want to have you have a fresher perspective on. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? Hell yeah. What you want to put into this? And then hearing them speak internally, I feel like they're speaking for the first time differently about themselves, the opportunities, the darkness. Can they get to light? Are they in light and want to shine brighter? Are there things that they're holding back? Because it helps everyone else in that audience. Dang, I wish I had a volunteer. Dang, I could have got that. Yes. So I honor the volunteers. I always want to give them something because to volunteer, to put yourself out there on Front Street, which is what every entrepreneur has to do, which is what every salesperson has to do. This is what every young person has to do when they're learning about sales or they're applying for certain things. There's a reason. Because to put yourself out there, you're going against the grain. People are going to come at you in a way that they didn't come at us when we were younger. There are people who always have an opinion on you. The more you hear it, I do think you can get a thicker skin when you learn that what else are they doing with their life but focusing on you. That's the worst thing. So you can take celebrity gossip, you can take YouTube videos, you can take all of this stuff that's meant to distract you, or you can give it maybe 30 minutes to an hour a day. But what you doing with the rest of that time? Because I need you to be your focal point of your life. I need you to be your main character. I need you to be the one that they write about. Baby, I'm Beyonce up in these streets. Beyonce, because I'm the focal point of my life. I'm the celebrity of my brand. And if we look at ourselves in that way, I can't worry about what she's doing with her money. I can't worry about that Birkin bag. I can only worry about, baby, did I show up and show out?
Yeah.
Did I let them know that there are great speakers out there? There are some with such huge names. I'm not worried about what they do because I'm going to deliver every time. And because I'm the main character of my story and my brand,
Mm-hmm.
everything should reflect that. And I used to be scared. I remember talking about the, like, a company can't be built around me. You know, listen, I know I'm killer pitch master, but over time I've accepted that people see me in a certain light. And I tell them, I don't want you to be me. I want you to be the best version of you. If you're an introvert, you can do this. If you're an extrovert, you can do this. If you're an ambivert, you can do this. Your job is not to be Precious Williams 2.0. Your job is to be the first Mary, the first Jessica, the first Terica, the first John or Rico,
Mm-hmm.
to the best of your ability. And that's what changes people. Not that I'm taking a picture, not that I'm taking listen, I'm taking pictures with celebrities. Do know I want to. Why do you take pictures with your books? Why do you take pictures with certain things? Because who's the main character?
Yep. So okay. So just for the audience, this is what it looks like to be in your own lane.
Girl, say it
This
again
is
for the people back.
This is what it looks like to be in your own lane. This is what it looks like to take ownership as the CEO of any company, whether you're a founder, whether you own a big corporation, because you're saying it. Personal branding is one of the most essential things, as well as the pitching, and anybody can pitch themselves. They just have to own themselves. So I love that you say that so beautifully, powerfully. And there was something else, but it kind of missed because I really wanted to put that one out there for people to understand, like, this is what it looks like. When they say, stay in your own lane, Precious just told you how to do it, what it looks like to be in your own lane and how to show up in your own lane. And it is that piece of, not going with the crowd, not doing what people say if it doesn't feel right to you, and just what feels good for you. Right.
You know, you're going to question yourself too.
Yeah.
Like, I know you and I have, like, it doesn't feel right, but everyone's so it's like when I tell people, do not call me a coach, I'm a trainer.
Yeah.
Well, what's the difference? And I explain it. Now, whether they get it or not is irrelevant to me. I teach people how to position me. That's part of positioning, right? If everyone says they're a coach, then coaches mean nothing.
Yeah.
A trainer is different.
Yeah.
I don't need you on my breast all day and all night. I am not the one to ask questions forever and a day, hoping to lead you down a path. There are some things you need to be trained on or to take to the next level. And whether I'm here or not, you're going to be Gucci, right?
Yep.
Talk about someone who sits in an ivory tower and been peddling the same information for 30 years. Never me, right? And also, so there's how are you packaged out there, right? So personal branding, even professional branding, what's the package look like? Is it attractive? And I don't mean everybody got to look thin and whatever. No. How are you packaged? In your industry, how are you positioning yourself for who you want to work with?
Yeah.
When I started, it was, I just want to work with entrepreneurs who had already made a couple of dollars, but they needed to pitch for pitch competition. Who would ever think that because I had a vast arsenal of understanding pitching from a level most people cannot, being a champion at it, Shark Tank, America's Real Deal, being on all of these different shows and documentaries around the world. Whoever thought that I would take that into the Ivy League and train at their business schools and their law schools, or be paid to come in and be a part of whatever conference they may have for certain things, or top HBCUs. I'm a graduate of Spelman College, or my law school, Rutgers School of Law, Newark. How many people got kicked out of law school, got a full scholarship at Georgetown, get kicked out, full scholarship at Rutgers, have a nervous breakdown, still finish, all expenses paid, bar expenses paid, passed the bar on my first try, got out there and was like, yeah, this is cool and all, but I'm not doing this for 40 years. Who says that? Who says that? And so y'all know I'm Black on both sides. I really am Black. Like, there's no ambiguity. I can't, oh my light, I can't do none of that, right? Yeah. There is none of that to me. There's no, I wonder what, no, you know what it is. And so when I say Who has the audacity to change and switch up? Don't know how to sew, don't know how to draw, don't know how to do anything. I want to create a lingerie company because I got to be 327 pounds as the end of my relationship was coming. And I finally severed ties. No one thinks they're going to meet the man of their dreams, especially someone who was a whole snack. You heard? Start a company, fight your way through it, finally get on national television and kill the game, and then turn around and still have people say no. You're like, thank you, next.
Yeah.
And then now you're teaching and training at some of the biggest companies in the world. And I always shot high.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know why, like, you know how we do hyper local,
Mm-hmm.
regional, national. I shot for national first.
Yeah.
And now I understand that there was nothing wrong with what I did, but you can still go back because there are people who wish they had the opportunity and they never were presented with the opportunity to work with me. And because I've made such a name here, now they come, we can negotiate, we do this sort of thing. But I shot high from the beginning because as a Black woman, full figure diva, plus size fashionista, if I didn't have certain names behind me, if I didn't have certain things, how do you leverage those things? So that's why pitching is so much more than words. It is the packaging of it all. It is the positioning. It is also the pitching.
Yeah.
And that's how you become a rainmaker. And that's how opportunities come to you. And now you got to fight with what makes sense. So being a game changer, baby, I had to get out the mud. It wasn't presented to me from the beginning. We don't have anybody in my family who's a professional or is an entrepreneur. So I stumbled a lot. And I think all of us who are trainers, maybe coaches and teachers and stuff, we don't want people to struggle as much as we did, but you're still going to be struggling because there are certain things to wrestle with. And that's the fun part.
It is the fun part. I think people miss it. Like, and you can look back and just like, yeah, that was kind of cool that I kept going in that moment.
Right. I mean, whoever thinks you can walk out of homelessness, quit a well-paying job and decide, balls to the wall, I'm going in. If I become homeless, couldn't pay rent for 5 months, like this pastor will tell you, we was a little scared for her. And then she never missed a beat since. She found a way to get a contract. She paid for her rent. She did everything. Like she paid back everything. Do you think that's shocking to me too? How did he trust me and his wife? And I was there 5 years. He ain't stressing. He would never stress about rent with me. He was like, that's the one we don't stress about who ain't got no job.
It's so funny. I have to say some of my favorite moments with my clients are those moments where they come to me and they are on them. They are like, I don't think I can do this anymore, or I don't think this is going to
I
work.
heard that out of me too. Shoot.
I did do that. Actually, your story, the one that we have to get, that is my favorite story because I'm just like, no, you're not seeing it. This is an opportunity for you. And who cares anyway what they think? You're going to do it for you. And so I love those moments because I'm just like, okay, we're going to push through this because today's decision day. We have a decision to make today. Are we going to be overcome by the fear? Are we going to be overcome by the self-doubt? Or are we just going to move through it and own where we're at and move it forward? However, whichever direction forward is. But I love those moments.
What a reminder. I used to watch Intimate Portrait on Lifetime. I used to watch Behind the Music. That's when you get that true tea of what happened, not just the glitz and glam. Listen, we had to nurse a peanut butter jelly sandwich every day between 6 of us, or, we were in a van that had no heat and here we are, or like all sorts of things that you never know happen.
Yeah.
So who was I ever to think that this was going to be the cakewalk? I know what's presented in the world and it will scare a lot of entrepreneurs who are just starting out. It was scary, experienced ones.
Yeah.
And sometimes maybe it's time for a new dream, or sometimes it's like, what have we been missing that would be beneficial at this point?
Yeah.
What have we been missing? Like, we were going to run out of women wanting to be in pitch competitions. No one had to tell me that. In fact, nobody did. I just knew that time was going to come. Not everybody wants to be on Shark Tank. Not everybody wants to be in media. Some people like to quietly make their money. They ain't want to say nothing. So, my name will not be mentioned, even though I'm a part of their process. I'm okay with that. And when your clientele changes, and that's why I'm so thankful we went from Perfect Pitches by Precious to the Perfect Pitch Group. My name has to come off of this. This is not me anymore. The what we've created as a team, what we are creating going forward, it had to take the time that it did.
Yep.
Because you can think, oh, we can do a website that's going to be quick. We can do all of this. Nah, things actually took time.
Yeah.
And more time than I thought. But who was I to forget how long it took the first time? So the change maker in me recognizes that the older I get, there's still going to be changes to be made. Mine came through pitching. Mine came through the success of my clientele winning millions of dollars in pitch competitions.
Yeah.
Mine came from companies working with me in hitting their revenue sales goals. Mine came from not just looking at myself as a killer pitch master, but also let's flip the script and plot twist on them. They think they know who you are. Like, bravo. You got to keep them on their toes. Nobody. You can't put baby in a corner. You can't put Precious, or you can't put these women or these men in a corner. Let's plot twist on them. They think they know you. Oh, all you are is a killer pitch master. Baby, hashtag ultimate rainmaker, hashtag atmosphere shifter, hashtag creative outsider. Baby, I ain't bound by the rules y'all keep talking about. Y'all ain't even bound by them. But you want to put me in a box because that makes you feel safer. I'm the CEO of this company.
Mm-hmm.
If I did everything the way y'all said, no one would listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
So we change our hair like we change our underwear. We celebrate being Black on both sides, no Brazilian butt lift, no six-pack abs. We celebrate the tiger stripes that have been on my body for years. We celebrate that we treat ourselves so much better than the world ever did. We celebrate that when it's time for evolution, we move imperfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And then over time, you'll get better and better and better. But someone has to take that first step. Someone has to defy the odds. And you don't have to look like the standard to make it.
Absolutely. All right. So, how can people get a hold of you if they want to talk to you about pitching, speaking, coming in and training for their sales and their marketing? Because you need both.
Girl, what you talking about?
Oh my goodness, yes, they need it so bad. And if you're a startup and a founder, or even law firms and colleges and universities, and how to show their students, their graduating students, how to pitch themselves in the real world.
Come on, because I know they need fellowships, they need jobs, they need externships, they need internships. Yes.
Yeah.
So the best way to get in contact with me or my company, and my website is www.perfectpitchgroup.com. We have several places on our website. So if you're looking to hire me to speak or to train at your college, university, law firm, law school, business school, please go to the section where you can book Precious, and we'll take it from there with you. If you are looking to be on get involved in our newsletter and all the upcoming things we have going on, there's a section on the website where you can sign up to stay abreast of all the things that we have going on. If you'd like to just contact me personally, you can go to info@perfectpitchgroup.com. If you're interested in my books, you can find those on my website. They even have their own links. And then if you are looking to take advantage of our video training, let's say you want to learn at your own pace and everything, we have several different types of video training programs. So you can go to, we have two areas on our website, one for individuals and those for organizations. So if you go to either one of those, there's still video trainings in there, but if you're an individual, go to that one and you'll see our different ones, from our ultimate pitch bundle to our pitch please masterclasses pitching for profit masterclass 1 and 2. We also have like merch and all that other kind of stuff. You'll definitely find it there. Yeah. And if there's just something that's been kind of eating at you when it comes to pitching, you can schedule time on my calendar for a consultation, or for me to be able to write a pitch for you.
Yeah.
And so you get to see how this really goes down. So I recommend you take advantage of all of that at www.perfectpitchgroup.com. On LinkedIn, I am Precious L. Williams, Precious L. Williams, killer pitch master, always on point. On Facebook, at Perfect Pitch Group. On Instagram, at Perfect Pitch Group. And I think that is it. But you can always find me. You can also find my team. So we'll all figure out a way to get back in touch with you. You won't be left alone. Mm-mm.
Nice. Well, I really appreciate you coming on to Minds of the Mighty podcast, and we kind of we just did our thing and we talked and we let it roll because
I think that's
how
better.
it is always better. And that's how you roll. So I love it, and I'm always inspired. So we appreciate you, and guys, listen to the end because I know, I just love you. She's just exactly who you think she is, guys, in the real too. I promise. Because I've got to meet you. I'm just like, yeah, I knew you were going to be like this. I knew that.
Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. We'll see you next episode. Bye for now. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another amazing episode of Minds of the Mighty podcast. And wasn't Precious amazing? I always get so inspired when I listen to her talk, and everything that she has done in the world already and where she's going is just an incredible thought leader for you guys to follow. So if you guys want to check out the show notes, if you want to get access to all the links that she shared on this interview, you guys can go to the show notes page, and that is on https://bit.ly/motm-precious. So that is a bit.ly. That's bit.ly/motm-precious. And you guys can go and check out her show notes page and see how you can contact her if you want her for speaking gigs, if you want to learn more about her pitch programs, and if you want to visit her website and her social media platforms. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and please don't forget to share, subscribe, and come and see us for our next episode. Thanks again, and bye for now.